AITAH for telling my dad I'm glad he's dying of cancer after his wife convinced him to disown me for being gay. Hello, Reddit eyes plus here, advice needed. Quick backstory. I'm Alex, 24, and my dad is Chris, 44. My mom, well, she died when I was 8 in a car accident. After that, it was just me and my dad for years. Honestly, we were close. We did everything together. Working on cars, he taught me life skills that schools don't touch. It was good. But everything fell apart when Susan came into the picture. I was 14 when my dad met her, and she's been an issue ever since. The first time I met Susan, she barely acknowledged me. Imagine, my dad is excited for me to meet her, we're supposed to get along, and she can't even pretend to care. I tried to engage, asked her about her job, her hobbies, sports she likes. Silence. Nothing. My dad kept trying to pull her into the conversation, but it was like trying to bond with a wall, and I'm thinking, this woman hates me, and I don't even know why. Then, 3 months later, my dad drops the bomb. He's proposing to her. I was like, bro, she literally hates me. Why are you marrying her? But he told me she'd warm up. Spoiler, she didn't. Fast forward to their wedding. I wasn't invited. My own dad's wedding. Kid-free, they said. Too much alcohol. Whatever. At this point, our relationship was already crumbling. We didn't even work on my car together anymore. Something we used to love. He promised we'd do a father-son trip after the wedding to make up for it, but honestly, I'd stopped believing his promises. This wasn't the dad I grew up with anymore. On my 16th birthday, I decided it was time to tell him I'm gay. Just me and him. No Susan. I was nervous, but he was supportive. He put his hand on my shoulder and told me he loved me and nothing would change. I was hopeful. I told him not to tell Susan, though, because she'd make it all about her holy crap. A few months later, I had a boyfriend and decided it was time to introduce him to my dad. Of course, Susan was there. And boy, did she make it unbearable. All night, she made these passive-aggressive comments like, "You don't look gay. Are you sure you're not confused?" And, "There's still time to correct this path." My dad? Silent. Just smiled awkwardly while my boyfriend and I felt like shit. That night, Susan cornered me and told me she didn't want my boyfriend back in her house. Her house. I told her straight up, this house was mine before you showed up. It was my mom's before it was yours. You're just a guest. She didn't like that, obviously, but I thought that was the end of it. Nope. My dad started acting cold toward me. We didn't hang out anymore, didn't talk about my life, or even about my boyfriend. We started arguing all the time. I told him he was letting Susan get in his head, and eventually he agreed with her that my lifestyle wasn't something he could support. And just like that, the man who raised me, who used to say he loved me no matter what, sided with this woman. Then it all blew up when I was 17. I got into it with Susan again, and this time, my dad told me he agreed with her, said my mom would be ashamed of me, said I was no son of his, and then he kicked me out, just like that. So I lived in my car for a month. My boyfriend dumped me because apparently it's embarrassing to be with someone who's homeless. Cool, right? I dropped out of school, started doing some shady shit to survive. Eventually I got a job, got an apartment, started living again, but I've been estranged from my dad ever since. Fast forward to last week. Out of the blue, I get a Facebook message from my dad. Apparently he's been trying to find me for years. He left Susan, he has cancer, and he wants to make things right before he dies. He says if he dies, I get everything, the house, the cars, the money, which, spoiler again, there's not much of. He wants to catch up, reconnect, like none of the past 7 years happened. I'll admit, part of me almost felt something. Almost. But then I remembered 17-year-old me sleeping in my car, wondering how my own father could choose a bigoted woman over his own son. So, I replied, "You kicked me out for that, bitch. I was 17 and doing things just to survive that no one should have to do. You're only sorry because you're sick. And now you want to feel better about yourself. I hope when you die, Mom is waiting for you, with nothing but regret. I'm glad you're suffering now. The next time I hear your name, it better be because you're dead so I can piss on your grave. Don't contact me again." And then I blocked him. Now, I feel empty. I don't know if I'm an asshole for what I said. My boyfriend thinks I could have been gentler because, well, he could die, but my friends? They say I should have gone even harder. I'm torn. Am I the asshole for saying I'm glad he's dying of cancer?